of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sports Zone.
Wednesday night, we saw a surge from the Braves offense, while young Matt Whistler and company held off the National League Eastern leading Nats. Tonight marks the much-anticipated Major League debut of Braves pitcher Manny Banuelos. He climbs to the mound opposite a sizzling Max Scherzer, who's dealing some of the nastiest stuff in all of baseball. The rubber game awaits this crucial midseason series. It's the Nationals and the Braves from Turner Field next. From Turner Field in Atlanta, it's time for Braves baseball, and it's time for the Braves to win a series against the Washington Nationals. They have a chance to do just that. It's a special night as a Braves youngster makes his Major League debut in Game 3. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip, welcome to the ballpark. Great win for the Braves last night, snapping the Nationals' 9-game head-to-head winning streak over the Braves. But tonight, it's another day and another debut. Manny Banuelos called up from Gwinnett. He gets the start in Game 3 tonight.
Manny was one of the highly touted prospects the Braves acquired during the offseason. This one came from the New York Yankees. Manny was coming off Tommy John surgery, but as we saw in spring training, the Braves were bringing him along slowly. While in New York, how about this from Mariano Rivera? I would say he's the greatest pitching prospect I've seen. Like everything about him, makeup, composure, you can read the rest. Mariano Rivera loved the way this guy handled himself in tough spots. I think that says enough about Manny with respect to his makeup. Now, then for the way he pitched at AAA this year, you're getting a glimpse of this at Gwinnett. Big curveball. He's got a good changeup. And while he was throwing in the mid-90s as a Yankee prospect, he's right around the low 90s, 91, 92. But that's even going to improve as time goes on, Chip, because he's going to continue to get better and get stronger.
So an exciting night for Manny Banuelos and his entire family. And who better to break in the big leagues against than a man that might be the best pitcher on the planet. Those are Banuelos' numbers. Just wait till you see the eye-popping numbers of Max Scherzer, the man on the mound for the Nationals tonight.
Well, nobody in baseball has pitched as well as Max Scherzer his last 3 starts. A one-hit shutout, a no-hitter, and then he took a perfect game for 6 innings against the Phillies in his last start. So Max Scherzer's got it working. Throws hard, great slider. He too has a good changeup from that low 3/4 arm delivery. So this is kind of a reverse lock, if you will. Last 3 starts for Scherzer, he's unbeatable. And for Manny Banuelos, he's never even pitched in the big leagues. I don't know what the odds are in Vegas. They probably aren't very good for Manny tonight.
I know it's tough to lose with a 33-1 strikeout to walk ratio,
right,
which is what Max Scherzer has working for the Nationals. When we come back, we'll get an update on the health status of Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman as we get you set for the Braves and Nats Game 3 tonight.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Braves and the Nationals, and the Braves looking to hopefully build off of that win last night and generate some more offense. Unfortunately, without the help again of Freddie Freeman in the lineup. He spoke today about his wrist injury and says he's hopeful he may be able to return shortly after the All-Star break. There is no set timetable, though, as Freddie goes through a pretty painful recovery process. Here he is with more on the injury today.
Part of the injury was also I had in 2009. So I did an MRI in 2009. And it healed, but I had to get shut down after the AA season for a month, and then it took another month, and then I went to the fall league. So it was about 2 months of resting, and I kind of re-aggravated that injury that kind of healed. Bone bruise is healing, so we're kind of focusing all our time into getting the inflammation out of the ligament area, and that's what we started a new treatment 3 days ago that is supposed to help the PRP injection also, and then I started a new thing today that helps the pain, hopefully get rid of the pain in my wrist. So we don't know. Day to day, we don't know how I'm going to respond. That's the thing that we have to take day to day. But I will not be back before the All-Star break.
And perhaps more painful than the treatment is having to sit back and watch his team and not be able to play. Hopefully, we see some action tonight for Manny Banuelos and the Braves as they take on the Nationals here at Turner Field. Lineups and first pitch after the break.
Here at Turner Field, a market improvement weather-wise from last night, where the Braves and Nationals had to wait a 2-hour and 9-minute rain delay before the opening pitch was thrown. Braves try to take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals, who line up this way on their Academy Sports and Outdoors starting 9. Span, Espinosa, Escobar, and Harper for Matt Williams in the top 4 spots. The Nats are injury-riddled, and they have also had trouble hitting left-handed pitching. With that in mind, Dan Uggla's in at second base. Michael Taylor's in left. Tyler Moore is their first baseman, batting 7th. And runs will be at a premium the way Max Scherzer is throwing. And Manny Banuelos at long last makes his major league debut as a Brave tonight.
24 years old. That debut would have come a lot sooner had it not been for Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. But there are his numbers at Gwinnett. More than a strikeout per inning pitched. A few walks mixed in there too. The scouting report on him was good fastball, locates it well. It just depends on his secondary pitches, a good big curveball and a changeup, and how those are working on any given night. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight, well, it has to do with those pitches, and that is locate. Just concentrate on A.J. Przinsky, what fingers he's putting down in his glove. Shouldn't have any trouble if you can do that. And overthrow. That's, I think, something that all pitchers have to guard against when they first come into the big leagues, is trying to do too much and get caught up in the moment and overthrow, and as a result don't have the same type pitches working for them that they normally would. Banuelos 5'10", 175 out of Durango, Mexico.
And the first big league hitter he will face is Nationals leadoff man Denard Span. Span, one of the Nats that's had trouble with left-handed hitters. He's batting just 190 against them, but 310 overall this season. Whistler did an excellent job of keeping the Nationals off the scoreboard early last night. Let's see if Banuelos can do the same tonight.
Ball outside.
And it's outside. We're underway. Dan Iasonia has the plate. And a breezy 82-degree night. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Braves traded David Carpenter and Chasen Shreve to the Yankees for the promise of Manny Banuelos. And that's inside the bag, a fair ball. And Denard Span around first is on his way towards second. Slams on the brakes as a Yuri Perez got to it quickly. Nice play. Span a long single to start the night.
A late swing on a pitch away, but perfectly sliced right down the line. That was not an easy play by Yuri Perez. Well done to hold him to a single.
So Span has his 4th hit of the series, and that'll bring up Danny Espinosa. Espinosa's at shortstop tonight. Ian Desmond has been slumping at the plate and with the leathers, so Espinosa gets started short. Dan Uggla gets the start at second base for the Nationals. Popped him up, and that ought to be easy for Chase Peterson, and he's got it. There's the first out for Banuelos in the show. Espinosa pops out, and Yudel Escobar is coming up. Last year, Banuelos pitched at 3 levels in the Yankees chain: Tampa, Trenton, and Scranton. His first season back after he missed the entire 2013 year with Tommy John surgery. Escobar at .321 for the year. He's a double play candidate. He's bounced into a handful of them in this series. And that popped off the glove of Przinsky. No advance. Ball 1. This series with Escobar, I mean this season series. Braves have doubled him up quite a bit.
Yeah, they have. A lot of it coming on those first pitches that he goes after that may not be strikes. Laid off that one.
He's hitting at 12 twin killings. 1 ball, no strikes.
Banuelos has a decent move too. He's picked off a few guys in the International League.
One-oh pitch. A change. Escobar didn't get it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Great change up. Great motion on it. Great finish on it. Circle change and a butte.
We know a certain left-hander who made a nice living throwing that pitch. And he worked with Banuelos on his changeup this spring training. We speak, of course, of our pal Tom Glavine. Runner goes. Escobar fouled it away and Span's back to first.
I think Span will have about 5 stolen bases in this series were it not for foul balls.
Right. Got a great jump. And Escobar fouled it straight back.
He's got 2 flaps hanging out of his back pockets, though. He may be slowing him down.
Loved Mel Hall when he had the batting gloves in his back pocket. Always had him with the fingers poking out. And there was a reason for that. First, the 1-2 pitch from Manny Banuelos. It's upstairs. Mel Hall had a rather eccentric personality in the major leagues. He used to steal lots of bases, and he liked the idea of the fingers waving goodbye to first base while he was on his way to second with a steal.
I loved him on Let's Make a Deal. Thought he was great.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
A little bigger lead. And he was going.
And he just did get back safely. Two-two pitch. Sailed way high. And now it's a full count to the Nationals' third baseman, Yunel Escobar.
When you get to this level, all of a sudden, what was an automatic fastball count in the minor leagues isn't anymore. So we'll see how much confidence he has and how much confidence AJ has in putting down something other than a fastball here.
Span leads. He goes, and the pitch is bounced foul. Something off speed and up. And Yunel stays alive.
Yeah, it was a straight change.
Again, the runner goes, and again, Escobar pops it out of play.
Well, that's 3 straight change-ups. Kind of doubt they're going to throw him a 4th.
So let's see what AJ cooks up.
AJ said, yeah, let's go 4.
Swing and a miss. Throw to second is high. And in safely is Span. Escobar strikes out. First big league strikeout for Banuelos. And now Bryce Harper will be the hitter with 2 men out. So that baseball will be tossed into the Atlanta dugout. First major league strikeout for Manny Banuelos. Here comes Bryce Harper, base open. You got Ramos, the catcher, waiting next.
Yeah, the stolen base is pretty obvious on a full count to send your guy early in the ball game, but by being successful and by Escobar striking out, you also open up the opportunity to pitch around Harper. Got to take the bat out of his hand. Let's see how the pitcher and catcher approach this.
Harper 4th in the league with 58 runs batted in. He's 3 for 8 in this series against the Braves, and he lashes one out of play foul for a strike. Look, you've got the lefty-lefty matchup. Why do you pitch Harper so carefully? Well, lefties don't bother him at all. He's hitting .342 against him this year. And .340 overall, good for second among all National League hitters.
We haven't seen the big curveball yet.
.91-mile-an-hour fastball missed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's his best one so far. He's been right around 90.
Paul Goldschmidt of Arizona and D. Gordon of the Marlins began play today with identical .350 batting marks. They're tied for first. Harper at .340 second. Escobar at .321 third. The pitch at the knees, a called strike.
Again, they don't care if they walk him. They're hoping Bryce Harper gets himself out. Ramos on deck, 1 for 9 in the series.
Two balls, 2 strikes. AJ body blocked that. And AJ liked that pitch. Wasn't a strike. Wasn't close enough for Harper to offer at it. Now it's 3-2.
That was a slider. Nice stop by Brzezinski.
Three-two changeup. Harper missed it. How about that pitch selection on a full count? Bryce Harper is down on strikes. First 2 strikeouts for Banuelos. And the Nationals are out in the top of the first. Well, Manny Banuelos, an impressive first inning for the Braves with a couple of strikeouts. And now we feast our eyes on the man that's the hottest pitcher in the major leagues right now, right-hander Max Scherzer.
He'll be 31 later this month. 6'3", 215 out of St. Louis. His last 3 starts, all outstanding, including the no-hitter June 20th against Pittsburgh. 1 walk, 33 strikeouts in that stretch.
And get ready to see heat from Max Scherzer. And lots of strikes as Jace Peterson gets things started for the Braves. And Anaheim Sonia raises the right arm there. It's quickly 0-2.
It's a low 3/4 delivery. An arm angle from Scherzer. Almost looks like he's pushing the ball. He's not. Hard slider to go with it and a changeup. His fastball 90-94. Slider can hit 90. And an excellent changeup.
1-2 count. And that stayed high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scherzer's from St. Louis, Missouri, Parkway Central High School, and the University of Missouri. A former Diamondback and Tiger. Swing and a miss by Peterson. Asks if it was a strike. The answer was affirmative. And he's down.
He did say yes?
Sonia nodded yes.
Boy, it looked like it was way up and out of the zone.
So Here's the Braves Academy Sports and Outdoors lineup. Maben follows Peterson. Markakis, Przinsky, Uribe. That duo homered last night. Kelly Johnson, Anderson Simmons, Ayuri Perez in left, and Manny Banuelos ninth. Cameron Maben, a .282 average with 6 homers. Last 11 starts for Max Scherzer. 101 strikeouts, 10 walks. That tells you how good he is. You see a lot of strikes and still teams can't hit him.
Against the Brewers, the scouting report we got on that outing where he threw the one hitter was that he pounded the outside corner to the right-handed hitters all day, and then would throw his slider just a little bit off the outside corner and racked up 16 strikeouts. In the near perfect game, it was all of his pitches. Both sides of the plate, up, down, in, out, change up, sliders, fastball, all of the above.
And you know, all the Braves starters are on the top rail watching Max Scherzer work. He's trying for his 10th win. 1-2 pitch is sliced out of play, foul.
He has the lowest batting average against in the National League. That should come as no surprise after giving up just 1 hit in those 2 starts. And he's at 180.
Swing and a miss. That did not appear to be a strike. And 2 are up, 2 are down in the Braves first, and Nick Markakis is the batter.
I'm not sure that's where he wanted it. Target was moving, well, wasn't moving at all. Setting up in the middle of the plate, Ramos. And it came inside, and I think it caused Cameron to open up a little quickly. Good start for Scherzer.
Nick Markakis, the batter, riding a 4-game hitting streak. And he's down a strike. One thing you can count on with Scherzer, he doesn't wilt in the first inning. He's given up only 1 first-inning run this season. That's popped up. And foul ground. Ramos tosses the mask away and puts the squeeze on that. And Scherzer retires the Braves in order, and he does it on 13 pitches. We head to a scoreless second. Dugout. The Braves middle infield defense had a couple of gems in last night's 4-1 victory over Washington.
Yeah, they were pretty slick out there, Simmons and Peterson. And a catcher running here. Barehanded grab by Jace. Plenty of time. Good work by both. The proverbial pitcher's best friend.
So one would guess that the butterflies for Manny Banuelos have shrunk from 747s to maybe 737s. He's got an inning under his belt now. He's got Ramos, Ugla, and Tyler Moore coming up.
Struck out 2 pretty good hitters too that were hitting 321 and 340. That ought to make him feel good.
Ramos at 258 and a late swing and out of play. You mentioned that we haven't seen the big curveball from Banuelos. I would assume that's a good thing. He hasn't had to use it yet. Why show him everything in the early innings unless you have to? Off the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Ask and ye shall receive.
There you go. A base hit by Ramos to start the second.
That one, you saw the sign from AJ to the outside corner. Fastball away, in other words, and that one was right in the middle. Good pitch to hit for Ramos.
Dan Ugla gets a start at second base for Washington. Talking to some of their people, they think Dan ought to be playing a little more. He's swinging the bat very well for the Washington team right now.
Especially in light of the struggles of Desmond.
Yeah. Desmond's had a rough series. And that's high and away, ball 1. Last 56 plate appearances, Dan Ugla is 15 for 47, a .319 average with 11 RBIs and 9 walks. Pulled toward third. Nice pick, Uribe. Peterson the turn. Double play. Uribe, cat-like quick at the hot corner, starts in around the horn double play.
This was a hot shot too. Most third basemen would have had to regroup a little bit. He didn't even pick up his right foot. It was planted. He backhanded it and threw off that same right foot without having to take a crow hop. Watch this. Nicely done.
So the pitcher's best friend, as Joe called it, empties the bases for Banuelos and brings up Tyler Moore. Moore's played some outfield but was drafted as a first baseman by Washington. Really made lots of offensive noise 5 years ago at Potomac. He hit 31 homers and drove in 111 runs in 129 games. Big time power for Tyler Moore. As we told you earlier in the series, from Northwest Rankin High School in Mississippi and Mississippi State. And he just avoided getting hit. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nationals liked him a lot. They drafted him in 2005, 2006, and 2008.
Yeah, I'd say they did.
Was signed as a 16th round pick. Full count now. Base is empty, 2 outs.
They wore him down.
Yeah. That hurt.
That really hurt. Got a shin guard on. I don't think it got any of that. Ball was already biting down and in. I don't think it was a strike. Oh, above the shin guard. Right on the shin bone. Yeah, that takes a little mental fortitude to regroup and decide what you're going to do here with this next pitch, and just hope that he doesn't throw it down and in.
Sky back our way and foul. Actually, a few booths to our right. John Schuerholz leaning out of the executive's box, ready to make a play.
He's got good hands.
Line to short, and Simmons is there, and that will retire the side. A leadoff hit, nothing else for the Nationals. Bottom of the second, no score. Here, and it's a rematch 4 years in the making as Alex Morgan and Team USA take on defending champion Japan to see who will be crowned a champion. Coverage begins Sunday at 5 Eastern only on your local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Go USA women.
USA was wondering, would they see a rematch with Japan after that phenomenal match between Japan and England.
Go Morgan Bryan from St. Simons Island, Georgia.
And congratulations to our own Jen Hildreth, who had a great run doing play-by-play work on the Women's World Cup. Jen's on her way back from a month in Canada, and she'll be joining us, I believe, on the upcoming road trip
tomorrow.
Yeah, right. AJ Pierzynski leads off against Scherzer. He's had good luck against him in his career, and he whistles that one foul past the Braves dugout. AJ saw Scherzer a lot while with the White Sox in their AL Central matchups with the Tigers. He's 11 for 33 in his career. 0-2, shift on, pitch. And AJ slices one toward Taylor in left near the stands, and he'll get there. And there's the first out.
It's a funny shift that they put on for him. They have all those infielders on the right side, but they leave Taylor over there by the line in case they want to run a ball away from him, knowing that AJ is certainly capable of hitting it the other way.
So So 4 up, 4 down for Scherzer, as the fans in Atlanta have the patriotic fever working tonight. Juan Uribe bats. Long homer for Juan last night here. A blast to straightaway center.
A loud one.
That's fouled away. Scherzer really hasn't had to ramp it up yet, has he?
And he can. When he wants to reach back, pump it up to about 97, he can. Remember how Rob Dibble would turn sideways and be looking over at the third base dugout when he did the big over the head windup? It's kind of who he looks like. And a big high leg kick like Dibble had too.
Swing and a miss. And Uribe is struck out. That's number 3 for Scherzer, and he's sent down the first 5 Braves in order. Scherzer's last win was his 100th in the major leagues. But he's below 500 against the Braves in his career. He's 1-2 against Atlanta all time. And this is our first look at him so far in 2015. Kelly Johnson, 6th place hitter, 6 homers, 22 knocked in. And that's foul out of play. 1-1.
Talking to some of the Nationals people about Max Scherzer, I mentioned something last night that he's reminding me more and more of John Smoltz all the time, and a lot of the things they talked about him today with his hustle, his desire to win, his stubbornness.
Cue shot toward Escobar at third. Low throw, and just in time. Kelly Johnson a squibber to third, and Max Scherzer has retired the first 6 he has seen. One of the competitive things about Max Scherzer is he loves to hit. We'll see how he fares at the plate. He's due second in the 3rd and still no score. Out. Swing and a miss. First big league strikeout for Banuelos. 3-2 changeup. Harper missed it. How about that pitch selection on a full count? So far, good scoreless duel. 0-0 after 2 innings. Manny Banuelos making his major league debut, facing the hottest pitcher in the league, Max Scherzer of the Nationals.
And Manny's had a very good changeup here in the first 2 innings.
And he's got the 8-9-1 hitters coming up. That's Taylor, Scherzer, and then leadoff man Denard Span. I've been impressed with this guy, Michael Taylor. Very highly thought of prospect in the Nationals organization, but with all the veteran players and when they're healthy, there really hasn't been much of an opportunity for this kid to play. Jason Worth's hurt. That's why he's out there every day now for the Nats, and he's done good work for them.
Yeah, 5 homers and 27 RBIs out of the 8th spot.
Fly ball. Kelly Johnson gives chase over near the tarp, and he won't have a play. It's 0-2.
No, and he's really a center fielder, so they can put him out there for Span if they want to, but can do a lot of things. So a great opportunity for him that he's not letting go to waste.
Jason Worth out after, I believe it's wrist surgery. Ryan Zimmerman out with plantar fasciitis. 2 big bats missing for the Washington club. As that missed high. Desmond's had offensive and defensive troubles. We've chronicled those. And Anthony Rendon is out with quad problem. Strike 3 called. Taylor knew it. Manuelos froze him. That's his 3rd strikeout and a good start to the 3rd inning.
That looked like some good action. Started in, he gave up on it. Good pitch. Obviously not afraid to pitch inside either. Love it.
Max Scherzer's hitting .257. He's got 9 hits in 35 tries this year. As an American League player, he never got a chance to hit unless it was interleague play. He's relishing the opportunity with Washington, and we're told he does not get cheated, and he's not up there just flailing away at the plate either.
Well, he's a good base runner too. Had a play the other day where he got a base hit. Ball was in the dirt. On the next pitch, he took second. They bunted him to third and then scored sliding.
Fly ball toward Maben, and Cameron with his good speed tracked it down. There's the second out. Manny Banuelos, the 6th Mexican native to pitch for the Braves. The last from Mexico to toil in an Atlanta uniform was Jorge Campillo, who pitched here in 2008. Here's Span. First inning single right down the 3rd base line. A strike. Two balls and a strike. Braves will welcome the Phillies to town tomorrow. Washington will leave Atlanta and go home for the Giants and Reds. 6-game homestand at Nationals Park. Fly ball foul. It's 2-2. Bernard Span, our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature tonight.
With his base hit in the first inning, he's now reached base in 22 straight games. There are the numbers for him in those 22 games. 15 runs scored. He's hit .333 against the Braves, not including that hit in the first inning with 2 homers. 2 of his 5. He's been a pain in the neck. Left-handers in AAA were hitting .200 against Banuelos. Right-handers .221. Only 2 homers allowed, both to right-handers.
Payoff pitch for Span. He got him looking outside corner. 89-mile-an-hour pitch. 4 strikeouts for Banuelos, 2 of them in the first, 2 of them here in the third, and he's due third for Atlanta in a scoreless game next. City. We've got 3 more games on the homestand. We will be heading to Milwaukee and then Denver, Colorado for the final games before the All-Star break with our friends at Delta Airlines. There's a pretty picture, pretty scoreboard if you like good starting pitching tonight too. No score. Braves batting in the 3rd inning with Andrelton Simmons coming up. 6 up, 6 down for Max Scherzer. Showed you those incredible eye-popping numbers over Scherzer's last 3 outings. 6 hits in 26 innings with 33 strikeouts and 1 walk. Amazing part of it, he has gone at least 6 innings in all 3 of those starts perfect. No base runners. He threw the first 2 in such fashion here tonight. Little pop slicing out of play, foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Quite obviously, when you come within 1 pitch of a perfect game and you have those kinds of numbers, Max Scherzer is going to be the pitcher of the month.
Yeah, and the guy that spoiled the perfect game is no longer in the big leagues. He was designated for assignment by the Pirates, Jose Tabata, so that might make him feel a little more sick at his stomach knowing that that guy's not in the big leagues.
That's outside.
But to his credit, to Max's credit, he didn't say one thing about what appeared to be Tabata leaning into that pitch to get hit by the pitch that spoiled the perfect game. His teammates did, but not Scherzer.
Ground ball toward 3rd. Nice pick by Escobar and a beautiful play to Rob Simmons.
That was.
He doesn't make that play. That's a leadoff hit.
Good first step by Yunel. Of course, a good shortstop in his own right.
So Yuri Perez is the batter. He's at 300 for the year.
Scherzer's fastball 93, 94 like the last pitch, but it doesn't look like it's coming out of his hand that hard. Seems like it's just coming out real easy.
Up the middle, there goes the no-hitter in perfect game big. Yuri Perez with a clean single. Bet you had Yuri Perez in the break up the no-hit bid pool, huh?
Well, he's hitting 300, so he had a 1 in 3 chance. Good swing up the middle.
So let's see if Braves can move him along. Banuelos in the batter's box with 1 out. Got the bunt down. And Scherzer will lob it to first with Dan Uggla covering. Good sacrifice.
Not easy to do against a guy throwing that hard. Executed it perfectly. There you go, kid.
Well, a 2-out hit would be nice. Let's see if Jace Peterson can provide one for the Braves here in the 3rd inning. Jace hitting .321 with runners in scoring position this year. And a strike. He's getting loose. That one at 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, he is. Markakis was late in the 1st inning on a couple of pitches. Kelly was late in the 2nd inning, and Jace late this inning so far.
Fly ball towards center. Denard Span will track it down, and that will retire the side. The Braves make up the no-hit bid by Max Scherzer here in the 3rd inning, and we go to the 4th. Celebrate Christmas in July with our own version of the Ugly Holiday T-shirt. Christmas in July ticket packages begin as low as $20 and include a discounted game ticket and an exclusive Ugly Holiday T-shirt. Secure yours today by visiting Braves.com/Christmas.
See, I think that's a great shirt. I don't think there's anything ugly about it. You got the Atlanta Braves in script. You got the script A and the tomahawk, and then you got all the Christmas stuff on it. See, now that's an ugly Christmas sweater. Greg, as you could see, was very excited about getting that for Christmas from his family. But your T-shirt now, that's a nice item, Clark.
Holiday Road as we go to the 4th inning. No score. Danny Espinosa's got to get a petition around the major leagues. He's got to get his scoreboard photo changed. He doesn't look like that.
Hey, he got in front of the camera.
Yeah, well, that's true. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
But I do understand your point.
I mean, Ernie Johnson used to say back in the day when players would have the big mustaches, big beards, that's the kind of mustache you could taste your soup for a week. Sure miss Ernie.
Big Ern.
0-2. Swing and a miss. Got everything working. Banuelos with 5 strikeouts.
Last night during the rain delay, we were getting to watch an assortment of driven shows, and one of them happened to be about Tom Glavine. And one of the things said about him was that, you know, he said teams knew what I was going to throw, and yet there wasn't always anything they could do about it if I was really on. And that was, we saw frustration from hitters like Jeff Kent, who knew it was coming and still couldn't stay back. That's kind of what you're seeing tonight.
Toward third, Uribe played it nicely and a perfect throw. 2 outs.
These guys are not adjusting at all to it. Some of them look like they're even waiting for it and can't stay back.
And here comes Bryce Harper. He struck out on a first inning changeup.
There's the big curve.
He tried to hit that out of the ballpark.
Well, I like the fact that Banuelos shook off AJ because he wanted to throw another one, knowing he could throw it better than the one before, and he did.
So an even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Harper couldn't pull the trigger. 1-2.
Take a look at that on PNC Bank. Fox tracks just tick the top of the zone. And that's all it's got to do is tick it.
I like it. 1-2 count. Oh, just missed the corner. Banuelos a few steps toward the Braves dugout. Thought he made a perfect pitch. Did he?
Just a little wide.
Wilson Ramos waits to hit next. Swing and a miss. Harper went fishing and came up empty. 6 strikeouts for Manny Banuelos. Wicket breaking ball takes care of the Nationals right fielder, and we head to the home 4th.
Right stuff, low price every day.
Beautiful breezy night in Atlanta. The Braves try to take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals and pull back to within 5 games of the division leaders. Manny Banuelos made his big league debut tonight. He has 6 strikeouts through the first 4 innings. He's gotten Bryce Harper twice. And now the Braves try to muster something against Max Scherzer, who's allowed only 1 hit in his first 3 innings of work. Maven serves one toward right. Harper over near the stands, and foul ground is going to have room. And he makes the play for out number 1.
Scherzer got off to a rotten start. He was 1-3 after his first 5 starts, but he'd only given up 5 earned runs. So part of it, and those weren't the only runs allowed. There were a bunch of unearned runs, so his defense wasn't helping him out too much, and was 1-3.
With so much on the line, artificially so, yes, with the All-Star game, Scherzer would be a great choice to start for the National League. But the way the schedule may fall for him, don't think that's going to be possible. As Taylor down the left field line can't get there, and it's quickly 0-2. I believe Scherzer is scheduled to pitch on July 12th, final Sunday, before the All-Star break, which would make him ineligible to pitch for the National League. He'll make the team, one would almost guarantee. I doubt he'll start unless there's a dramatic change in the Nationals' rotation for that series with Baltimore. 0-2 from Markakis, and the jump out of the way. Strike 3, paints the outside corner.
He painted the inside of the right-handed batter's box is what he painted. Nick took a long look at that before he turned around. Let's take a look at the PNC Bank box tracks. You couldn't see it, but I could. It's outside.
I trust you. 4 strikeouts, 4 straight retired. And here's AJ Pierzynski. And it's out of play, foul. Again, Washington with that shift on for him. Taylor guarding the line in left field. Espinosa remains at shortstop. Escobar moves to the first base side of second base. Dan Uggla playing in shallow right. And AJ didn't get that. It's 0-2.
Pulled the string on him there, threw him something off speed, and AJ wasn't ready for that. He's been kind of locked in on that fastball and slider. He had good swings at it his first time up. .96.
AJ had a good cut, but could do nothing more than foul it straight back.
Ball outside.
You heard Dan Iasonia's explanation. Now it's 1-2.
I think Dan's a good ball and strike umpire. He gets postseason assignments, so he must be rated high by players, coaches, managers, and the league. He doesn't appreciate any help from anyone questioning any of his calls. I know that for sure. He gives you a very short leash on those questioning him, but he's a good ball and strike guy.
High fly ball. Taylor in left will make the catch, and that will retire the side. Well, maybe that's short fuse for Dan Iasonia. He's a BA English major. It's combined by the Braves and Nationals. Max Scherzer, Manny Banuelos are toiling on the mound. Banuelos with 6 strikeouts will face Ramos, Ugla, and Tyler Moore for Washington.
That start 2 starts ago against Indianapolis for Banuelos, 9 innings, 2 hits, no runs or walks, 5 strikeouts. And then his next start at Pawtucket, he didn't get into the 4th inning. He had a real rough outing, arguably his worst of the year. But like Whistler, he then got called up, and here he is pitching on the heels of that rough outing.
Ramos has the second of Washington's 2 singles tonight. And he's going to bounce to short. Easy play for Andrelton, and the lob to first in plenty of time to get the catcher one out. Nine up, 9 down. Here's Ugla. Dan hit into a double play in the 2nd inning. He's knocked in 12 runs. 8 of them have come against the Braves. You know how many RBIs Dan Ugla had last year?
I do not.
10. He's knocked in 12 this year. Swing and a miss.
Well, that's a good breaking ball. Starts in the left-handed box, toward the left-handed box. It's a big hook.
And so he's mixing that in now. 2nd time through the order for Washington. Didn't show it to him hardly at all the first time through. And the changeup's been there from the opening bell. He gets Dan to swing and miss. That's his 7th strikeout, and 10 in a row have been retired.
That was a good sequence. Fastball on the inside corner, curveball, Swing and a miss. Change up. Swing and a miss.
Two balls and a strike for Tyler Moore. Short hop. Simmons gloves, grabs, and guns him out. Moore hit it off the end of the bat, but Banuelos has another perfect inning, this time in the top of the 5th.
Fox Sports celebrates 50 years of the Atlanta Braves.
Fans, spend the 4th of July weekend with us here at Turner Field. Get your tickets tonight to see the Braves battle the Phillies beginning tomorrow, July 3rd through Sunday. What better way to celebrate Independence Day than by experiencing America's pastime and the best fireworks show in the Southeast. Go to Braves.com/tickets and plan your 4th of July trip to the ballpark today. We'll have fireworks after 2 games against the Phillies, both Friday and on the 4th of July.
Yeah, first game, Tehran against Adam Morgan, who was one of only 2 starting pitchers to win games in June for the Phillies.
Juan Uribe starts the 5th and looks at a ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Aaron Harang, 8-game losing streak for the Phillies, disabled, plantar fasciitis. We'll see Aaron for a while. They've got Chad Billingsley back in rotation. He's pitching tonight for the Phillies. He's trying to come back from serious arm trouble.
Not a good outing so far.
Facing Matt Garza and Milwaukee. Straight back.
One got one to hit there.
Sharply hit, fair ball down the left field line. Uribe's got an extra base hit and an excellent start to the Braves' 5th inning.
He didn't miss that one. Down and in. Dropped the barrel on it. Change up. And raked it down the line. Got to do all the fundamental things now in a game like this. Got to get him over and get him in. Opportunity.
Kelly Johnson rolled out to third his first time up. And took inside, ball one.
When I was in this situation, and I would encourage other hitters to do this, I got up on top of the plate, because even if I get jammed, the chances are because I'm trying to pull the ball, if I got jammed and broke my bat, I'm going to pull the ball to the right side. If you're standing off the plate and they throw you a strike, sometimes you're going to have to go out around that ball, and it doesn't always mean you're going to pull it. You might hit a comebacker, you might hit it to the left side.
Popped up and out of play.
And I'm not saying I was perfect 100% of the time. Certainly wasn't. But that gave me a better chance to get that guy over if I'm on top of the plate and opening up too soon, to get my bat out there quick enough to hit the ball to the right side. Just play pepper with the right side.
Well, he's got a big hole between Tyler Moore and Dan Uggla. But now he's behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. See where Scherzer goes. He fakes towards second. There's excellent camera work there. You can see Scherzer playing with the baseball to get his grip. We're told he uses a very stiff glove so as not to tip the hitter as to what pitch he's actually going to grip.
And he will twirl the baseball in there, making you think perhaps that he's trying to find a grip for an off-speed pitch when it may be a fastball.
Two-two pitch lofted toward right. Harper's under. Uribe at second, thinks about a tag. He's not going to challenge Harper's arm. Kelly pulled it, but not deep enough to advance the runner. 1 out.
Well, it'll fall on the shoulders of Simmons and Perez to get him in. But these were things that the Braves executed marvelously the first 6 weeks of the season and into June. Lately, it's been a chore.
Yunel Escobar took away a hit from Andrelton back in the 3rd inning. A fine play to his left at third base. So he's 0 for 1. Strike call.
You know, when the Braves had Yunel Escobar, there were times where he kind of got crossways with Bobby Cox about his style and flair and the way he liked to play, and some of the things he had to learn at this level, sometimes the hard way. But there's never any question about how he enjoys playing. He loves being out there. He wants the ball hit to him. You don't know if he's going to jump, twirl around, and do a 360 before he throws it, but he wants the ball in his hands.
Nothing in 1 for Andrelton Simmons. And that's off the plate. I would say from the outside looking in, Bryce Harper is the most valuable position player for Washington. I think you could make the case that Yunel Escobar may be their most indispensable player. All the different positions he's played and how he's really helped pick up the slack for Zimmerman and a slumping Ian Desmond. 1-1 pitch. Not close. 2 balls and a strike.
I think you're 100% right. They would probably all tell you, I don't know where we'd be without Escobar and his offense, given the injuries they've had to try to cover up.
And that man knows a thing or two about the art of playing third base. I'm sure they're thrilled with what Escobar's done at the hot corner as well for Washington. 2 balls and a strike. Line drive, base hit, and the Braves are going to take a lead. Uribe around third. Simmons comes through. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
I thought Scherzer got away with an off-speed pitch to Kelly Johnson. He made a bad pitch that turned out all right because it was popped up to shallow right. Here, he doesn't get away with it. That breaking ball had the middle of the plate and didn't fool Andrelton. And while he was out in front of it a little bit, he still got good wood on it. And Andrelton comes through and helps pick up Kelly Johnson.
His 29th RBI. Yuri Perez picked up the first Atlanta hit. That was in the 3rd inning. And he had a good rip. Strike 1. I think this will be interesting for Max Scherzer. Yes, great pedigree, great stuff. He hasn't pitched behind in a while. See how he fares down an early run, or a run midway through the game more accurately. There's a run on 3 hits. The pitch. Just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
We've kind of been saying that for the last 6 or 7 games these two teams have played. Shift the pressure. Score first if you're Atlanta, and make the Nationals try to figure out how to make pitches when they're behind and how to get runs across the board when they are trailing.
Runner goes. Pitch cut on a miss. The Ramos throw to second is perfect. Ugla handled the throw. Simmons is thrown out trying to steal. And now it's a 2-2 count with 2 outs for Perez.
Trying to make something happen. Might have been a hit and run. Perez was swinging on the pitch. Second time Andrelton's been caught.
So Scherzer trails in a game for the first time since June 9th, when the Yankees beat the Nationals 6-1 at Yankee Stadium. He gave up 4 runs in that game. He's given up 3 runs since, and a little pop to first. That should be handled by Tyler Moore, and it is. But Atlanta breaks through. They cash in a leadoff double from Juan Uribe with an Andrelton Simmons RBI single, and this one moves to the 6th.
0-0 lead over Max Scherzer and the Nationals. Tonight, Manny Banuelos is the 12th Brave to make his major league debut this season. And Freddie Gonzalez, when it comes to young starting pitchers making their debut, he's told him the same thing every time, and that's trust your catcher, especially AJ Pierzynski, who has so much experience. Freddie called it amazing how AJ has caught so many games in so many years and had a productive career. He said the workload he's taken on this year, he didn't sign up for it, but he's here gearing up every day and helping these guys out.
Thank you, Christina. I thought A.J. Pierzynski had a great line last night after Matt Whistler won his second game. He also picked up an RBI hit, and after the game, A.J. said, well, now that he's gotten his hit out of the way, he can go back and concentrate on pitching. Forget about the hitting part. But he has been invaluable this year, in a season where so many players have made their big league debuts. So many pitchers have debuted as well. A.J.'s done an excellent job. He's guided Banuelos through 5 shutout innings. He's got the 8, 9, and 1 hitters up again. And another change is swung on and missed. 7 strikeouts for Banuelos. He's allowed 2 Washington singles.
I don't remember Taylor being this far up in the box his last at bat. Maybe he was. But I wonder if he's made an adjustment to try to take away that changeup or that off-speed pitch away.
High fly ball to left. Perez lost it for a moment. Now tracks it, makes the catch.
That's a couple of changeups dating back to the last inning that have had pretty good wood put on them. That fly ball and the hard hit ball that short hopped Andrelton Simmons.
It's that time of night for the outfielders too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We saw Perez hold his hands out as if to say can't find it, but he recovered, and here's Scherzer, who flied out to center, and that one bounced into the Braves dugout. Foul, a strike.
Much to the relief of Braves outfielders and outfielders everywhere, SunTrust Park is going to have lights in the outfield.
Woohoo! And they will be aesthetically pleasing. So we can look forward to that. Strike 1 for Scherzer. And there's the breaking ball, 0-2. Ground ball to short. Simmons has it. Scherzer busts it down the line. And he's the second out. Busy day in the major leagues. Also a busy day for the Braves baseball operations staff. The international bonus draft is taking place today. The Braves made a couple of transactions today. They traded Cody Martin to the Oakland Athletics for the 53rd international bonus pool slot and the dollars that go along with that particular slot. They also just completed another trade with the Dodgers. They got the 87th overall international slot for right-handed pitcher Caleb Dirks and outfielder Jordan Parobek. Parobek came over from the Padres on April 5th. That was the Melvin Upton, Craig Kimbrell deal. Liner foul and a strike.
The bottom line for these deals is that draft, that international signing period is going on right now, and the Braves just picked up an extra $500,000 to spend for bonus money.
And that has been an area of focus for John Hart, John Campolello, since they've headed the Braves baseball operations department. There's that one got away from Pierzynski. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Hart, John Schuerholz, John Campolello from right to left. And that draft is ongoing right now. Players are being selected and signed as we speak by all major league teams. And who knows, maybe more news by the end of the night. 1-1 pitch is bounced foul out of play. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Kid named Yadier Alvarez went to the Dodgers earlier today. He's a right-handed pitcher. LA signed him for $16 million. A youngster out of Cuba.
That would, to me, sound like they used up just about all their pool money.
They have. And Span got hit on a 1-2 count. He tried to get out of the way and couldn't. And Banuelos will go to the stretch for the first time since the second inning as Denard Span, his first major league hit batsman.
Change up, got away from him. Every time he's lost his change up tonight, it's been in that spot. Up and into the left-handed batter's box.
So a dangerous hitter is up there, and Danny Espinosa. He's hit 8 homers. He's knocked in 23 runs. He's 0 for 2 tonight. This guy's worn out the Braves. 17 hits and a couple of homers. Big improvement at the plate for Washington. He's a lifetime .228 hitter. He's 30 points higher this year. Was it Espinosa we were talking about last night that has the Adam LaRoche-like stance from the left side?
Yes.
Not nearly the same stance as right-hand hitter.
No, but we learned today that this stance is relatively new, the one that's in the left-handed box. Says he sees the ball a lot better when he's.
Runner goes. The pitch is strike. Throw to second high. And Span makes Banuelos pay for the hit batsman with his second stolen base of the night. He's a perfect 11 for 11.
Went on his first move. But Espinosa says that he sees the ball better when he's got that wide open stance. Got both eyes on it instead of kind of standing with a closed stance where he's got to look over the bridge of his nose.
A hit could tie the game. There are 2 outs and time called by A.J. Brzezinski. And Espinosa got hit. That was a fastball.
Span got hit on the back of the arm or the shoulder on a changeup. This a fastball on the back of the elbow. Maybe the upper arm. Yep.
And Roger McDowell will make his way to the mound, and Jim Lovell will come out as well. Freddie Gonzalez out, concerned if Banuelos maybe hurt himself. 2 consecutive pitches that hit batters.
Freddie's talking to Roger like he's telling him who he wants to get up and come in.
And Banuelos will not be able to continue. So 2 hit batsmen with 2 outs in the 6th inning. A 7 strikeout shutout game for the Braves rookie left-hander who gets a nice hand. We'll tell you as soon as we find out what's ailing Manny Banuelos. Atlanta has to go to its bullpen in the top of the 6th.
AT&T Uverse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
Fans, now it's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by our friends at T-Mobile.
Take a look at Manny, how he favors his left leg here on the follow through. He kind of steps and then gingerly is getting weight off of it on the follow through. Again, something to do with his left leg, it would appear. Either cramps or some sort of strain. At any rate, he's out of the game, and Nick Massett will try to get the last out of the 6th inning.
And that hitter will be Yunel Escobar, the Nationals' third baseman. While Massett warms up, we'll update you on the scoreboard. The Marlins beat the Giants today 5-4. A couple of terrific pitchers made their way back from Tommy John surgery today. Matt Cain pitched for the Giants and lost. Jose Fernandez, the Marlins fireballing phenom, started that game, I believe won that game, and also hit a home run for the Marlins today. Cubs beat the Mets 6-1. Mets can't score at all. They were beaten 2-0 in 11 innings yesterday. In fact, the Cubs swept them in New York, and I think swept the entire season series head-to-head with the Mets this year.
Yeah, it's been over 100 years since the Cubs have won a season series that consisted of as many as 7 games. Been a while.
And with the head-to-head history of the Cubs and Mets, that is a sweet victory for Chicago's North Side fans this year. Milwaukee leads the Phillies 7-4. Brewers are playing much better baseball. They're swinging the bats. They've won 4 in a row. Had 17 hits in their win last night. Chad Billingsley started for the Phillies, as we told you, gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings through 92 pitches for the Phillies. Cardinals are at home against San Diego. Padres are beating them 3-1 in the 5th inning. Cardinals got stymied by the White Sox in back-to-back games. White Sox were 7-1 winners yesterday against the Cardinals. Later on, Colorado will visit Arizona. We've got the Jose Fernandez at bat down in Miami. Braves fans know all about Fernandez and his home run hitting prowess. Here's what he did today against the Giants.
Boy, that was a no-doubter. Came back in a big way. Big crowd, too, down in Miami.
The game needs players like Jose Fernandez with that bubbly personality, with his obvious great talent. And it's good for the game that he's back, and great for the fans in South Florida who've been waiting for his return for 13 months. And something for the Marlins to smile about today in what otherwise has been a very, very rough season in 2015. So Nick Massett's ready to go. The Braves infield, at least the shortstop and third baseman, gather to talk strategy as Escobar gets set to dig in for the Nationals here in the 6th inning. Back-to-back hit batsmen chase Manny Banuelos, who left with an injury of some sort. Jim Lovell and Roger McDowell discussing perhaps what chased Banuelos in his debut tonight. So 2 on, 2 out. Escobar versus Massett.
Massett 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits and a run last night. Careful on the first one.
He did not face Escobar, however, last evening. And it's up and away, ball 1. Braves pen has given up at least 1 run in 6 consecutive games. Can't give up one tonight, otherwise we'll be tied at the very least. It's 1-0 Atlanta. And Uribe handles a sinking line drive. He hardly had to move. Maybe that was the game plan. Nick, let him hit it to me at third base. Worked out just fine. Washington strands 2 in the 6th. It's still 1-0 Braves. Banuelos in position to win in his big league debut. He has pitched better than Max Scherzer tonight. Atlanta touched the Nationals right-hander for a run on 2 hits in the 5th inning. And Joey Trdoslavich will bat for Nick Massett, who got Escobar to line out to end the top of the 6th inning.
Evelyn and Ardsma have been up in the Atlanta pen preparing for next inning,
which will start with Bryce Harper. The bat ends up in the seats. That fan will be allowed to keep the souvenir, but it'll be taken to a place of safekeeping for the rest of the ball game, and I assume he'll pick it up when he heads for home. No balls and a strike for Trdoslavich. He's got a new bat. And a shot down the right field line is foul. It's 0-2. Joey swings and misses on a ball in the dirt. Ramos makes the peg to first, and there's the first out of the inning.
Five strikeouts for Scherzer tonight. This one on a bad ball, but Joey couldn't stop his swing. That was a changeup.
Jace Peterson is 0 for 2 and takes a ball high. Jason a slide at the plate. 5 hits in his last 40 times up. Two and 0. Looks like it'll be Ardsma next for the 7th inning. Letter high strike. It's 2-2. And Ramos held on. Peterson on a tip is called out. 2 down. Back-to-back strikeouts for Scherzer. He's got 6 of them. When you don't walk anybody, you can be very efficient.
Boy, that's the truth, isn't it?
It's 72 pitches for Scherzer with 2 outs in the 6th inning.
Is it 1 walk in his last 4 starts, counting this one?
Yep. And now 39 strikeouts in that stretch. I'm sure there are numerous examples of it, but I can't remember a stretch of this kind of consistent excellence by a pitcher in modern major league history.
Yeah, the dominance with all the strikeouts and lack of hits.
Swing and a miss. He just struck out the side.
97.
He's loose, but he needs a run. He's down 1-0 with the heart of the order up to the Nationals next. Braves fans, mark your calendars for Freddie Hugs bobblehead night, Tuesday, July 21st, when the Braves take on the Dodgers. The first 20,000 fans through the gates get a bobblehead featuring Freddie Freeman hugging Johnny Gomes. Don't miss out on this limited edition bobblehead. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get yours today. If you missed the news earlier, Freddie Freeman addressed the media before the ball game. He's seeing improvement in the wrist. He told us that the bone bruise is all but healed, but there's still some inflammation in the wrist, and he is still feeling pain in the wrist. But what Freddie said was much of that pain comes from the PRP injection. He said the needle was about the size of a soda straw when they went to make the injection, so that'll take a little time to clear up. And then once the pain of the injection stops, then he can really evaluate if the wrist still has an issue. But with the inflammation, Freddie announced earlier today that he will not be playing for the Braves before the All-Star break.
It is not something to mess with. It's not something to rush back for. It's not something that you can say, I think it's good enough, but because it'll lead to something much worse. Nomar Garcia-Parra had some wrist problems that really cut into his power later in his career. Jason Worth on this ball club, constant wrist problems.
How about Will Myers, one of the best young hitters in the game? Got hit by a pitch last year, came back, had tendonitis, had to have an operation again. He's out.
Yeah, it's just not something to mess with.
So Harper quickly down 0-2 for David Aardsma. Third pitcher of the night for Atlanta. Harper has struck out twice. The 0-2 pitch is high. 1-2. We just got word from Brad Hange. Banuelos left with cramping and dehydration. One ball, two strikes for Harper. Bases empty, seventh inning. 1-0 Braves lead it. And popped up out of play.
It was not an uncomfortable night. Slight breeze blowing out towards center field, 82 degrees at game time. But anxiety and adrenaline pumping for that young man for his first major league start, I'm sure contributed to that.
And he pitched great. I mean, he really looked good, didn't he?
Sure did.
7 strikeouts, no walks, and 2 hits. Matching Max Scherzer pitch for pitch and leading him by a 1-run score. Pitch to Harper is fouled straight back.
How'd you like that swing? I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. I don't think he was trying to go to left.
No. No. I don't think he was either.
What a cut.
.24 homers for Harper, already a new career high for him. And we're not even halfway through the year. Pitch is up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he's not just a slugger. Amazingly enough, Harper has not been held hitless in back-to-back games since May 4th and 5th when the Marlins did that. Two is smacked to center. Maben on the run. Had it and dropped it. Hit him right in the glove. And Harper on his way to second, and he'll stand there to start the inning.
That ball was smoked. Cameron okay. He's walking in funny. He's just upset that he didn't hang on to this. In the heel, in the web, and then out.
That scored a double for Harper, his 18th. And now Washington an excellent chance in the 7th inning as Wilson Ramos digs in. He is singled and grounded out. Harper fought off a couple of pitches with 2 strikes and represents the tying run. We're just past 9 o'clock in Atlanta. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Ground ball right side, and that's through for a hit. Here comes Harper around third. No chance for Markakis, and the Nationals have tied the game 1 apiece on back-to-back hits in the 7th. Ramos rewarded for doing the right thing. His 36th RBI, and no chance for Banuelos to win tonight.
That ball had a lot of the plate. Not a whole lot unlike the ball he hit in the 2nd inning when he got a base hit to right off of Banuelos. Just trying to go the other way. Found the hole.
So a drop turns into a double. A single turns into a run. And Dan Uggla is in the batter's box with a man aboard and nobody out. He showed bunts. And that ball's low. 1 ball, no strikes. Can't remember Dan Uggla sacrificing with the Braves.
No, but it tells you a little bit about Matt Williams. Even with a catcher running at first.
You know when his last sacrifice hit was? Unless he has one this year. 2009. When he was a Marlin.
When you have Max Scherzer on the mound still in the game. You've tied it up. Doesn't matter who's up there. You play for that run to get the lead. Figuring that would be enough. There's no sacrifices this year, so your 2009 mark is right.
And that got a piece of Przinsky.
Side of the thigh.
One ball, 2 strikes. And Uggla couldn't check his swing. And he couldn't advance Ramos. That keeps the double play in order. And there's the first out of the inning. There's Tyler Moore. He's lined to short and he's grounded to short. Twelve at bats against the Braves for number 12 for Washington. He has 1 hit this year. Double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. A drop proves costly, though, as Bryce Harper doubles and scores the game-tying run. We move to the stretch. Markakis, Przinsky, and Uribe coming up. Line drive, base hit, and the Braves are going to take a lead. Uribe around third. Simmons comes through. It's 1-0 Atlanta. Those are the Toyota key plays of the game tonight. It's going to take 2 to beat Max Scherzer. It's going to take 2 at least to beat the Braves tonight. Big crowd chopping and chanting as the heart of the order is coming up against Scherzer here in the 7th inning. Markakis, Pierzynski, and Juan Uribe. Markakis 0 for 2. He's popped out and struck out. And Scherzer missed outside to him, ball 1. Right there, even count.
New life for Scherzer. Struck out the side last inning. Last pitch 97.
Ooh. Wicked pitch. Markakis didn't get it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Above his hands, up and in. Couldn't get there.
Served into shallow left, and Taylor's going to get there for the first out. And time for our AT Ubers trivia question this evening. Get the question late tonight. Since 2005, who has the best batting average against the Nationals? Minimum of 150 plate appearances. Best batting average against Washington. That's your question tonight. If you ask Steve McCaddy, he would say Freddie Freeman because that man's in his nightmares. Freeman's on the DL for the Braves. A.J. Pierzynski, foul ball. He's flied to left twice tonight.
Was that the best Braves batting average or just anyone in the National League?
It was anyone. Always good to have a lot of choices.
Yeah, that narrowed it down.
No balls and a strike. AJ showed bunt, took a strike at the knees, and didn't like the call. Mentioned it's rare to see such an extended string of dominance from a major league pitcher like Max Scherzer is on. Dave Baker brought up a great point. Remember Fernando Mania? This ball's grounded to the right side. Ugla in outfield grass makes the play for the second out. April 9th of 1981 through May 14th of 1981, Fernando Valenzuela made 8 starts, 72 innings, 68 strikeouts, 8-0, 7 complete games, and an .050 earned run average.
Yeah, Laser Baker told me the one that wasn't a complete game went 11 innings. He was taken out. The Dodgers scored a run in the top of the inning to make him the winner, but he didn't pitch the bottom half.
Maybe Scherzer can equal that great run by the great Fernando Valenzuela. Ground ball by Uribe to short. And the throw to first is in time, and Scherzer's through 7 innings in a tie game. He's due up second in the 8th. See what Matt Williams does. 1-1 your score. baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox.
When will those starters be announced? The week before?
I believe so. We head to the 8th inning. Jim Johnson will come on and pitch for Atlanta. He'll have the 8, 9, and 1 hitters scheduled for the Nationals.
Well, he was sharp last night. Struck out Escobar, got Harper on a grounder to first, and Ramos on a fly ball to right. It was done in quick order. 1, 2, 3.
Taylor, then Scherzer, we believe, then Denard Span. And a ground ball the other way is past Kelly Johnson. Taylor a leadoff hit and a big turnaround first.
That's exactly what Max Scherzer wanted to see. He wanted to see Taylor get on base in front of him so he could bunt him over and stay in the game. Fastball right there, a little late on it, but perfect location. I don't know what Scherzer was doing. Maybe he thought he was going to get pinch hit for.
Scherzer with 3 sacrifices this year. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight. And that's taken low, ball 1. Taylor's got good speed and a good lead, and it's low.
AJ wanted that one. I don't know if he raised up too soon, ready to come out and cover the bunt, maybe block Iasonia's view or not. Perfect pitch, and he did not come out too soon.
That's why AJ was shaking his head. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yes!
That one called a strike. Now it's 2-1. That was tipped. Now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Send him up there to bunt. You might as well leave him up there to bunt. But if you're the Braves, you want to make sure he does try to bunt, not walk him.
Yep, he's trying to give you an out. Taylor leads at first, and the 3-2 pitch to the pitcher is on the way. And it's a strike 3 call. Scherzer's retired for the first out. So good hitting pitcher can't help himself with a bunt. Now it's up to Denard Span with 1 out.
Both these guys have excellent speed. With the inability to get the bunt down, let's see if Matt Williams just plays it straight up or sends a runner, tries a hit and run, or lets Taylor try to swipe one.
He's 8 out of 10 in the stolen base department if Williams chooses that route. Not going, and the pitch sails high. 1 ball, no strikes. Nationals don't run an awful lot. They've got 28 stolen bases, including the 2 by Span in this game. Braves, by comparison, have 39.
19 of those swipes belong to these 2 guys.
So that's your running game for the most part for Washington. Opposite field single by Taylor in the 8th got it started. Scherzer struck out looking. And now Denard Span, the man that's hit the Braves hard, is swinging a hot bat, has a chance to make things very interesting in the 8th inning. Line drive center. Maben sliding catch, held onto that one. Throw back to first will not be in time. 2 out. Span hit that one right on the button.
Denard's a really good low ball hitter, and he raked that one. Cameron with a nice catch.
And now Espinosa bats. We'll take a look at that dramatically different left-handed stance that we spoke of earlier. Espinosa's popped out, struck out, and has been hit by a pitch. Bouncing ball toward Peterson. He's got it. He'll take it to the bag, and that's the inning. Washington got a leadoff hit, but Jim Johnson took care of that. Bottom of the 8th inning, still a 1-1 score. Tour of the Braves press box, broadcast booth, clubhouse, and dugout. Tours are offered all year long and begin in the Braves Museum and Hall of Fame. For more information, call 404-614-2311. Home 8th, Kelly Johnson, Andrelton Simmons, Yuri Perez, and then we'll see for Atlanta. Max Scherzer's back out there for the Nationals. And easy gas for Scherzer tonight. 7 strikeouts. No walks. He's allowed 3 hits. He's had 1 stressful inning. That was the 5th. He threw 18 pitches that frame. And that's the inning in which the Braves scored their lone run. One and 2. Those of you not familiar with the career of Max Scherzer, he is not a longtime National. This is his first year in Washington. As Johnson swings and misses, that's number 8 for Scherzer. Scherzer had 5 consecutive double-digit win seasons for the Tigers. His best year, 2013, when he went 21-3. You might recall the Tigers tried to sign him to a big contract, and he said, nope, I'm going to go to free agency. He bet on himself, and he ended up a big winner. A gigantic contract he earned with the Washington Nationals. But even Detroit wasn't his first stop. He was originally an Arizona Diamondback. Arizona traded Scherzer and Daniel Schlereth to the Tigers for Edwin Jackson. And Ian Kennedy came from the Yankees in a 3-team deal. That was the Curtis Granderson trade as well.
Last 3 years with Detroit, strikeout totals of 231, 240, and 252.
One ball, one strike. Wonder if Arizona would like to rethink that particular deal.
Good chance.
Two balls and a strike. And upstairs for Simmons. Braves need a base runner. Haven't had one since the run-scoring 5th inning.
Even when he was with Arizona, though, you liked his arm because he threw so hard. Good solid arm, great body, 6'3", 215.
In the air towards Span in center, and he'll get there. 2 out.
But nobody in Arizona could have predicted what he was going to develop into and turn out to be one of the richest pitchers in the game after his contract was inked with the Nationals.
Yuri Perez broke up Scherzer's hope for a no-hitter with 1 out in the 3rd inning. A strike. Very late swing. 0-2.
That pitch is given right-handed hitters fits all night. It's a breaking ball, but it's not your typical slider down and away. It's like a backup pitch. Well, that one didn't back up. That broke, but he's throwing it at them and causing the hitters to flinch, fly open, and then realize it still might be a strike, and they swing at it.
Scherzer humped up to 96 miles an hour on his 96th pitch. Inning over. 9 strikeouts for Max Scherzer. Escobar, Harper, and Ramos are coming up in the top of the 9th. Great ball game in Atlanta tonight. Braves tonight. He's allowed only 1 run. And that's where we stand after 8. Since 2005, who has the best batting average against the Nationals? Minimum of 150 plate appearances. That's our AT Universe trivia question.
Who are you going to pick?
Well, I wanted to say Ryan Klesko, who's watching the game tonight. But that goes back to the Montreal days, so that wouldn't be the correct answer. I'm going to say, I'll say Chipper Jones.
Okay, I'll say David Wright.
And it's Miguel Cabrera. Not surprising, a .402 average. We didn't have a whole lot of time to think about that one, so we'll score that one a draw. As Jason Grilli goes to work for the Braves in the 9th inning. He's got the 3, 4, 5 hitters up for the Nationals. 1-1 game tonight.
Jason should be fresh. He had a 1-2-3 inning last night to get his 22nd save, and he struck out 2 batters.
Escobar leads it off. He's 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout. Manny Banuelos started, debuted for Atlanta. 7 strikeouts, 2 hits, and 5 2/3 scoreless. And the first pitch driven to right. And the park's going to be big enough to hold it. Marquez a step onto the warning track. Gets it, 1 out.
That ball carried a long way. The wind blowing straight out.
And here's Bryce Harper. Give Bryce Harper credit. Line drive to center. In and out of the glove of Cameron Maybin. Sprinted out of the box. Made it into second base. And scored what proved to be the game-tying run last time up. In his other 2 at-bats, Harper struck out swinging against Manny Banuelos. Swing and a miss. Challenged him with a fastball. Love it. Strike 1. Right on by. It's 0-2 to Harper.
That patented slide step fastball gets on you a little quicker than you expect. Good pitch. Made him move back. Got him out of the way. Backdoor breaking ball has been effective against him in this series at times.
Check swing. This is a classic matchup of experience and youth. Bryce Harper was 6 years old when Jason Grilli began his professional baseball career. And now they're locking horns in the 9th inning with the bases empty and 1 out in a tie game. Two balls, 2 strikes. Have a seat, son. 2 out. 3rd strikeout for Harper tonight.
All fastballs, all fastballs. You know, at some point he was going to try the slider. Boy, was it a good one. Down. And to the back point of the plate, a little more down and in. Great job by Grilli.
Now Ramos, the Washington catcher, he's 2 for 3. It has their RBI tonight. He's knocked in 12 runs in his last 15 games. Another player who's been racked by injuries throughout his big league career. Looks to be healthy this year. No balls and a strike. High hopper to short. Plenty of time with the catcher running, and Grilli a very impressive ninth inning. He got the meat of the order in order. Now the ninth inning rolls around. 9-1-2 for the Braves in a 1-1 game.
This copyrighted.
Use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, it's been a thrilling ball game tonight. Scherzer and Banuelos, the Braves bullpen. Atlanta trying to take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. Scherzer back out there for the bottom of the ninth inning, and Atlanta will go to Pedro Ciriaco to pinch hit.
Braves have really pitched well tonight. They have matched up with Scherzer beautifully.
Pedro's been a nice addition to the club. Saw his numbers, and a good cut fouled back. Strike one. Braves bench has 30 pinch hits as a group this year. They've hit 4 pinch hit homers. Ciriaco 5 for 16 and 4 RBIs. Coming off the bench.
Get on any way you can. Get something started.
Little number hit toward short. Ciriaco can run. Nice play. Too late. Infield hit.
Any way you can, including a swinging bunt.
Espinosa did all he could, but Ciriaco with excellent speed has a pinch hit to start the bottom of the ninth.
Slider just pounded it straight into the ground, and no chance for Espinosa. In the one hitter where he struck out 16, Scherzer threw 119 pitches. The next game, when he threw the near perfect game, did throw a no hitter, 106 pitches. Last start, 6 innings, 100 pitches. So he's got a lot still left in the tank if he needs it.
Jace Peterson, the batter, and he tries to bunt. That's rocketed into the seats. Foul. Strike one.
Matt Thornton up in their bullpen. First activity tonight.
Cole Porter with a visit for Peterson, who has 3 sacrifice bunts this year. Now Ramos and Scherzer talk things over on the pitcher's mound.
There's Thornton. While that's going on, Escobar, well, he's now walking back toward the edge of the grass, but playing in close at third base, pretty much challenging Jace Peterson, because he will get closer.
No balls and a strike. Jace got it down. Scherzer will have one play, and it's to first. A perfect sacrifice.
Nice job. Whatever Bo Porter said to him was helpful.
A 1-4 sacrifice, winning run in scoring position for Maben and or Markakis. Like this situation because Cameron Maben, a .381 hitter this year with runners in scoring position, one of the best in the game. Slider strike. Nolan Arenado of the Rockies leads the league with a .441 RISP batting average. Maben's 9th in the circuit at .381. Big lead Siriaco at second. The 0-1 pitch from Scherzer. And rifled out of play. It's 0-2.
A lot of room on the right side for Cameron. That's where he's done a lot of his best work, hitting the ball to right field.
He checked his swing. That's that pitch that's given the righties trouble, as you said. And Cameron took it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he's had such an excellent slider tonight. Down and away to the right-handers that you figure him to try to go there to negate any power that Cameron has, but that might help him slap one to right.
High hopper over third. That is a fair ball. Here comes Siriaco, and the Braves walk off against Scherzer. The Braves are chasing Cameron Maben. Matt Williams is talking with the home plate umpires. The Nationals might want to appeal this play. Atlanta thinks they've won the game 2-1. And the umpires are walking off. So are the Nationals. This ball game's in the books. Atlanta's going to win it.
Yeah.
Over the head of Escobar.
It landed in foul territory, but it's where it goes over the bag. C.B. Buckner's the third base umpire. Quick ruling. Great job by Cameron Maben behind in the count. How about that, folks?
The Braves have beaten Max Scherzer. They've taken 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. They've trimmed the deficit to 5 games, and Max Scherzer has his 3-game winning streak snapped on a bouncing ball that somehow stayed fair at the third base bag to bring home Pedro Siriaco. What a finish! And Christina standing by with the man that provided the game-winning hit.
All right, thank you, Chip. Cameron, you've been getting it done all year long with guys in scoring position. What were you thinking with Pedro on second up there?
Just trying not to do too much. Trying not to take that play that I messed up on defense to the plate. It's a big win. We needed it, man, against a good pitcher like Matt. I'm just happy, I was able to stay in the fight. Pedro did a great job of getting on and giving us a chance. It's a big win.
What made Scherzer so effective out there today?
I mean, he's one of the best in the game. I mean, he continues to do it, continues to, pound the strike zone, mix it up with his pitches, and you got to tip your cap. He's a true competitor, a true grinder.
How about Manny Buelos keeping you guys in the game too? Unfortunately, he had to leave early.
I mean, he did an awesome job. It seems like time in and time out, these young guys keep coming up. They keep getting the job done, and we're happy to have them, man. We love these young guys. We love their composure, their competitiveness, and he did a great job to keep us in the game.
Congratulations, Cam. Thank you. Back to you, Chip.
All right, Christina, thank you very much. I love Cameron Maben's honesty. Yeah, that's a redemption-type base hit. A controversial hit. We'll examine it more when we come back. The Braves beat Max Scherzer and the Nationals and win the series 2-1 and 2-1 tonight.